Welcome to another edition of the MEYLE Mechanics. Today, me and Jan are going to show you how to do a professional brake pad replacement.
And it's hello from me too. For this demonstration, we're going to use the new MEYLE pads.
If you also want to replace the brake discs now that you're already at work, check out our website for the corresponding video.
I'd say, let's go over to the car and get started. We're going to change the brake pad on a Skoda Superb. We've already put the car in the air and relieved pressure off the wheel so that we can perform a sound pad replacement job.
Actually, before taking off the wheels, I'd suggest taking advantage of this opportunity to use our joint play tester to check the suspension for wear on the struts and ball joints.
Vibration during operation need not necessarily come from the brake system. It might just as well come from defective hydro mounts.
However, we're not going to do this now. Instead, we'll start by taking the wheel off. So, the wheel is off. First of all, I'm going to examine the brake hose to see if it's brittle or cracked. The brake hose looks good. Now I'm removing the wear warning contact of the brake pads. Then I take off the two protective covers to get access to the slide pins, which can be removed using a 7mm Allen key.
Die ich dann mit einem 7er Imbus lösen kann.
What I'm going to do next is remove these locating springs from the caliper, which then allows me to remove the entire caliper assembly.
Und kann dann als nächsten Schritt den ganzen Bremssattel abnehmen.
I always inspect the caliper for any damage or corrosion, nothing of which can be seen here.
Dieses ist hier nicht der Fall.
To prevent the caliper getting in the way while we're working, Torsten will use this hook I have constructed myself and hook it in the coil spring. Pull the caliper towards it, and that's it.
Und dann den Bremssattel hier rüber stecken und schon ist entlastet.
The next thing to do is pushing the piston back into the cylinder with a piston retractor. The reason you have to do this is the new pads are thicker than the ones you're replacing and need more installation space. Just apply the retractor tool and push the piston back to its rearmost position.
But before fitting the new pads, I'll clean the brake caliper with a metal brush. Then I apply ceramic paste to the pads where they make contact with the caliper before finally inserting them in the caliper.
Before mounting the second pad, I'm going to lubricate all contact surfaces very carefully. Try not to put on too much grease, because you wouldn't want to have that ceramic paste on your brake disc.
It's really important for Torsten to use ceramic paste or any other high-temperature grease, as more and more vehicle manufacturers use aluminium carriers to reduce overall vehicle weight. Using a copper paste would trigger an electrolytic reaction, in the course of which the more precious metal, in this case copper, would gradually eat away at the less precious metal, the aluminium carrier.
Metall, in diesem Fall Aluminium, sich langsam auflösen würde.
Okay, everything is clean and neat and lubricated. Now I'm going to remount the caliper on the bracket. To do this, I insert the pad here on the bracket. Unhook the caliper from the wire. Bit tricky this, or rather, I made it tricky. Slide it over the pads and make sure the wear contacts are right where I want them to be. Now I'm going to tighten the slide pins to secure the caliper to the base plate. I'm tightening the first pin until I can feel it engaging in the thread, and then repeat this for the second pin.
Als erstes drehe ich oben halt nur leicht an, bis ich merke, okay, der Bolzen hat das Gewinde gefasst. Und das Gleiche mache ich dann auch mit dem unteren Führungsbolzen, so dass er im Gewinde reift. So.
At which point you can take the ratchet as normal and carefully tighten the pins down. Not forgetting to plug the wear warning contact back in.
In die Steckverbindung stecken.
So all that is now left to do is to reinstall the spring, which is basically done the way you removed it at the beginning. And here is our brake, complete again.
Once the car has been reassembled and put back on the ground, it is extremely important that you pump the brake pedal a couple of times until you can feel no variation in the pedal stroke at identical pedal load. The reason for this is that there is now a gap between the new pads and brake disc that must be narrowed.
Und der Bremsscheibe ein Spalt entsteht und der muss sich erstmal verringern.
If you don't do this, there would be hardly any braking power at first. So pump that brake pedal.
And another important thing, try not to hit the brakes too heavily on the first 200 or so kilometers.
For those of you looking for brake pads to fit your car, check out our website www.meyle.com. There you'll easily find the right pads. That's all from us. Thanks for watching, and see you again next time.
Bye.